Swaddy Krupp, and welcome to another Tower of Babel, where we get to read out your comments about the things we write at The Tiger on our website, on our YouTube page and at Facebook. Somebody yesterday complained about the shirt I was wearing, saying it wasn't up to scratch. Well, I'm sorry, this probably won't make you happy either, but the Tower of Babel will be a little bit more down-dressed from the Thailand news today. But anyway, let's get stuck into the comments. This person really isn't very happy. Steve G says, I wouldn't go back to Thailand if they gave me a free first-class ticket and paid for my hotel for a month. Screw them. All they want to do is grab your money. I lived there for 10 years and I left because I woke up and saw the light. Give me. Screw you. So I suspect the government can probably put Steve down as a no-go for the future. Jimmy HVY asks the question, are the communists going to take over Thailand? Well, that's a good question, Jimmy, but we're not particularly sure which communists you're talking about, whether you're talking about the Lao government to the north of Thailand, the Vietnamese government, both of which are communists, or the Chinese government. You might have to define which particular communists you're talking about. Seymour Likely says, great report as always. May I suggest regular updates on arrival rules, requirements for overseas visitors? These would be quite helpful since they change so often. Seymour, we do our best to try and keep everybody up to date with any changes to the arrival situation for international travellers or tourists in Thailand. Really, there hasn't been much of a change over the past month. That's why you probably haven't seen a lot of news about it, but we will do something to bring everybody up to date in the next week, just for you. Speaking about the air pollution around Bangkok at the moment, and just looking outside, it's a lot better than it has been over the past 3 or 4 days. But Boda Zephyr says, I think the smoke will cause more years of life to be lost than COVID-19. Well, statistically, Boda, you're quite correct, but we won't really know the full situation with COVID-19 for another 3 or 4 years as it infects more people in the community. But you're right, the air pollution around Bangkok and parts of Thailand can be very dangerous. Bruce H says, as per usual, no report on the 29 vaccine-related deaths in Norway. Wouldn't want to muddy the COVID-20 waters. Well, that report about the 29 deaths of people over the age of 80 in Norway after they were injected with the Pfizer vaccine has been extensively reported on thetiger.com. We didn't report it in Thailand News yesterday, because it wasn't directly relevant to life here in Thailand. City says, Australia, the new North Korea. And Don Robinson says, so Australia is a prison colony again. Well, the reference from Don there about Australia, of course, starting its white settlement as a penal colony for Britain when the first fleet arrived there in 1888. It did start as a penal colony. I think it's got a little bit better since then as far as being the new North Korea, even though the government says they're going to close the borders for the rest of 2021. It's still quite a nice place to live. Liz Davies says, please Tim, Les Majesté is pronounced Les Majesté. You offend the French every time. Apart from that, I love your news. Well, Liz, yes, we sometimes struggle with Les Majesté. Here's how Google says it.
Les Majestés.
And we even asked YouTube if they could say the word.
Les Majestés.
So we're going to stick with Les Majestés in the future. Apologise for an Australian speaking French in Thailand. Sean McErlean says, G'day Tim, a great mixed bag today. I think Sean might be from Australia. He says, it does seem like Thailand has a somewhat better grip on the pandemic. That is a shame though about Australia, especially for yourself. Can you not go back on family grounds for a visit? Well, in that news out of Australia over the past few days, it was said that members of a family could go back for family reasons. But no, I'm quite happy here in Thailand. Thanks. Robert Madalena wrote to the Tiger and he said, here in Florida, it's business as usual. We do wear masks in stores. Vaccines are weekly now for 65 and older. It should be an example for everyone. Lockdowns are a joke. You're bankrupting the hard-working people beyond repair. Well, apart from a few spelling errors there, we just wanted to direct your attention to the latest figures out of Florida, where yesterday 8,002 people were infected with COVID-19 and 136 people died out of a total of 22,000 in Florida. So not really sure how well Florida is doing. We would recommend people wear their mask whenever they're out in public. And we finish today's Tower of Babel with Cut the Crab. He's got right to the point. How many of the COVID cases have died of COVID only? Cases don't mean much, especially when the type of test used is the completely inaccurate PCR 45 test. And why do transportation companies like airliners think they can overrule basic human rights by forcing me to take an unnecessary and unreliable vaccine? It's time to stop this COVID-idiocy and get on with what's left of our lives. Well, there's quite a lot to unpack there, Cut the Crab, but if you don't like what the airlines are demanding, maybe you can start your own. They are indeed mostly private organisations, some of them with quite a lot of government help, admittedly. That's all we have today for Tower of Babel, where we get to react to some of your comments on our various platforms. Please keep it nice. Don't put any links in your comments. We've outlined that several times already. If you do put a link in your comments, we'll delete the comments because we just have to be very careful what's posted as we stick to the rules for YouTube and Facebook, and also a few demands from the Thai government. Thanks for watching today. We'll see you again tomorrow.